Joining us is a special guest, someone that reached out. As I said to you out there, reach out to me at Fort Totera with a special story, a concern you might have, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to try and help out as best we can. And joining us right now from the under-16 Woodbridge Striker girls team is a parent, Mark Appleton. Mark, welcome.
Hi, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure's all mine, Mark, and I'm glad you reached out. I wanted to have you on to talk about this story. I can't do it as much justice as you can because you experienced it. You went through it. So tell us, from what I understand, your daughter's on this team, the under-16 girls Woodbridge team. You were lucky enough to make it out to the Nationals. You traveled out to, I believe, Lehtbridge, Alberta. Take it away from there. Tell us everything that transpired and happened.
Yeah, so my daughter Lindsay and her team, they had a fantastic year. I mean, really, it was about this time last year when their coach basically stood in front of them and said, "Girls, I think we got a team that can win nationals here." And really set that as a goal. And I think a lot of the parents looked at it and said, wow, it's a pretty lofty expectation. But they went through the season undefeated. They won the Ontario Cup. And, you know, we saved up the money to get these girls out to Lehtbridge for the National Championships. And off we went. So we get out there, and the weather really wasn't too great. I mean, they're playing in 2-degree weather, freezing weather almost every day, wind, all kinds of things. But then probably about Friday, the weather forecast for Monday, which is when the championships were going to take place, started to say snow. So as we got closer to this, and even on the Sunday as they played the semifinal games, and by the way, the team had another magnificent run going all the way undefeated. They were going to be lining up against Quebec on Monday, and the announcement started coming out that the games had initially been moved earlier. I think they were going to initially have a 9-10 o'clock kickoff on the Monday morning so that the teams could make their flights out of Calgary. So they moved them earlier, the boys' games earlier, and then what do you know? The storm came in. They started predicting it's going to be 5 to 10 centimeters in the middle of the afternoon on Sunday, and sure enough, at probably 2 a.m., the snow started coming down, and by the time that we woke up, the cars were covered, ground was covered. The CSA had tweeted out a picture of them trying to clear the field, and it wasn't going to happen. I mean, the snow was coming down faster than you could clear it off your car.
So Mark, let's stop there. Let's go back. First and foremost, I want you to give some respect to that coach. You didn't mention his name, about the great work that he's done with these young girls. What is his name?
Well, his name is Mario Gagliardi, and really the whole staff is fantastic. The assistant coach, Jacques Zamparelli, and the technical director on the girls' side, Dave Porco at Woodbridge. I mean, they really have, for a number of years, said that this 2000 age group of this age group is a special group of girls that they put together. And I have to say to the manager, Adriana Costanero, as well, she was lights out, unbelievable, keeping these girls organized, motivated the entire week. So it's a great staff. And, I mean, I just want to go through some of it. There's nothing we can do now. I'll be honest with you. We've been told there'll be a decision made in November. I don't really know what that means. So,
well, stop there. So when they say that there's going to be a decision made in November, does that mean getting a game in somewhere? Does that mean we're going to draw straws? What does it mean?
We've heard everything from they will look at goal differential, which our team scored the most goals and conceded the least amount of goals. So if I were Quebec, I would not want that to be a deciding factor. We've heard coin toss. But we have not heard anyone, I don't believe, and again, I'm speaking as a parent, I don't know what the coaching staff has heard, but no one on the parent staff has heard there's going to be a game. So we really don't know. And I just did some rough math. I'll be honest with you, I'm a lot calmer today than I was a couple of days ago because I was pretty lucky as a player. I played in 2 national championships, unfortunately lost both of them, but to have my daughter be in the championship. I mean, Anthony, I have tried to explain to people who we did fundraising to, people at work, where I say, yeah, we went there. How'd your daughter's team do? They made it to the championship game. How'd that go? There wasn't one.
Yeah, and let's stop there. And that, to me, is the most toughest part to digest because you as a parent, all the other parents, not just from the Ontario but the Quebec side, have invested time, money, hours away from work, emotions. You're going on a roller coaster, on and on and on. And I also feel, to be honest, and I've said this, and I'll be crystal clear and put the cards on the table to you, Mark, I feel for the CSA too. They couldn't predict that weather storm happening, but everyone here right now has to come to an agreement. Everyone has to understand, let's do what's right for the game and let's do what's right for the kids. How do we do that? I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I'll tell you this. I'll give you this answer. We should never, ever again play nationals in a province where we know that at that time of year it's going to happen, where a storm could take place like this. Let's keep it in provinces like Ontario, where you're not going to get that, BC, Quebec, because you know that you're not going to have that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, Mark.
Well, my point is this, right? I mean, if you look at all of the players, the boys and girls side is there. 24 teams. I did some quick math here. 480 players. Throw some parents in there. You're up to 700 people traveling to Alberta. You're looking at people who have spent $1 million. People have spent $1 million to travel to Alberta just for this. And we can't have a dome in Calgary reserved for $1,000 for the day just in case something goes wrong. I mean, to me, even if a storm hit Ontario, where the under-18s were in Ontario and Vaughan, you can go to the OSA. You can go to Hershey Centre. So in Lehtbridge is about the size of Newmarket, Ontario. There's no plan B. So it's really an issue. And then you talk about the weather. We flew home with the women's softball team from Humber College. They're on our plane, and they were coming from Saskatoon. And we all know Saskatoon got hit hard last week. I said to the girls, boy, I heard Saskatoon got hit hard. What happened? They said they moved the games indoors. Softball. They were prepared. They had a contingency plan. So it's almost too late now for our girls to get that feeling back. But what I really want to make sure is, as a big Canadian fan, Toronto FC season ticket holder, I go to all the Canadian soccer games. I go to League One. I go to TFC2. The whole thing. I just want to make sure this doesn't happen. What are the criteria for choosing where an event gets hosted? And why was there no backup plan? It's the foothills of Alberta in October. This stuff happens. And to me, it's just unfortunate, and we got to move past it. There's not going to be a satisfactory outcome in this case, but if people like yourselves who are looking for the future of the game, this is what we need to look at. Is we are a big, rich nation with many soccer facilities, as you mentioned, indoor and outdoor. And we must be prepared for the conditions that our country puts at us. It's the beauty of living in Canada.
Your points are so well taken, and you're so right. I mean, there should have been some kind of contingency plan, like you said. I mean, here in Ontario, we're blessed, we're lucky. Even though we continuously, complain, we would have an option B of the OSA indoor or many other indoor facilities in the GTA that could have, stepped up and said, hey, here's the situation, please. Even though it's been booked by a private academy or a club, we need this for national. I'm sure that accommodations could have taken place. But from what you're telling me, that no one had a contingency plan. There was no option B at all.
Well, I mean, I have to believe that the Alberta Soccer Association, I mean, we were 2 hours away from Calgary. I'm sure if they would have said either, listen, guys, we're going to have to get you up early in the morning and we're going to move this final to Calgary, or if they knew the weather was potentially an issue, they could have said, Sunday morning, guys, we're going to play the semifinal at 9 a.m. and we're going to play the final at 7 p.m. We're sorry to make you play 2 games in one day, but let's get a result. And I think that would have, again, we would have said, wow, better than facing what came the next day, right? So to me, I look at it and say, the bureaucracy has gotten in the way a little bit here. We get to the point where on the field, our girls are told, oh, you can't wear a headband, or you got to make sure your sleeves match all the same color, and they follow those rules. But we're not ready for contingency when the weather hits. So I think it's a strange set of bureaucracy when we adhere to those rules, but we're not ready for Plan B. For me, I believe that all 24 teams deserve a personal apology from the Canadian Soccer Association for not handling this properly. These are the national championships. There could be players playing this could have been the biggest game, the biggest week they may ever see in soccer.
Mark, listen, we really appreciate you taking time. I could hear it in your voice. I sense it. It's coming from your heart. You're hurt. The team is hurt. The girls are hurt. I feel for everyone involved, to be quite honest. I feel for everyone involved, whether it's the two provinces, Quebec, Ontario, coaches, players, even the CSA, because, again, they couldn't predict the weather. I feel for everyone involved, and this is a learning experience. This is something that should never, ever happen again. Mark, listen, we thank you so much for making time. And again, give a shout out to the team. Also, give a shout out to that Quebec team. What was that team's name that you were about to face as well as we let you go?
Lakeshore. I mean, we've battled Lakeshore from Montreal a couple of times in the Ontario-Quebec Cup. We've played friendly exhibition matches against them. Can't call them friendlies. They're a great team. And our girls, you know what? Our girls, they're going to pick themselves up and they're going to dust themselves off. In the end, they'll be stronger for what's happened to them, but this is a learning experience for them as well. And just, you know, once they get through the disappointment, they're going to realize what a magical season they had.
Absolutely, and I'm pretty sure not too long down the future that John Herdman will probably have a look at some of these young girls on your squad, on Quebec, in this age group, and say, hey, here's some players that might be able to help us out in the next World Cup or Olympics. Mark, thanks for making time. Thanks for reaching out, because these are the stories we want to tell, and we want to learn, and we want to help one another so that this country can grow in the right direction. Mark, thanks again for making time, my friend.
Anthony, thanks for having me. Keep up the good fight.